Well, DraftKings nerds, the Big D back and ready to rumble, and we're going to win $2 million tonight. And joining us, the owner of Fanspeak Network, Steve Ospico. As Steve Ospico, make
Yeah, how's it going? Appreciate you having me on.
yeah, thank you, and also check out the wonderful people at Fanspeak. What Steve and Meg put out great content, do all kinds of DFS best ball content. I think you guys have set a record for amount of like puppy and dog streams this year.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, we've been cranking them out. That's for sure.
Yeah, what is it? Is there like a great team that you? Is there a great team that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have any specific teams in mind. I mean, we've done so many good drafts on stream. A lot of them are on Meg's account, some on mine. Sometimes I'm working with Andrew, and then of course Andrew and Justin do their drafts, and then as you know, Fred and Tyler do the DK draft. So we try and cover it from all different angles.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but we do all kinds of drafts, and you could tell who's done best ball drafts, and you could tell who's a family guy or redraft guy because when somebody takes them all and Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts back to back, I'm like, yeah, they're not a best ball guy.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And I don't know what it is, but every time I get the 1-on-1, I am scared to death. I know somebody's going to take Joe Burrow from me, and it pisses me off. I know it's going to happen,
Yeah, unfortunately, it does happen more often than you'd expect.
and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm like, I don't know. So, do you have a set strategy in mind when drafting, or is it like, do you just come?
Well, I think it somewhat depends. To me, your first couple rounds kind of dictate where your team should go. If you take three wide receivers in a row, then yeah, like you're going to need to catch up at running back a little bit. If you're taking an elite quarterback in the first couple rounds, then you can probably wait a bit for the next quarterback. Generally speaking, on DraftKings, I like to go 3-6-8-3. I think that's the best build structure. I, as often as I can, like to have my quarterbacks have different buys. I like to have, even my tight ends have different buys. Sometimes I go only two tight end, particularly if I'm getting an elite tight end, and then use that extra pick to catch up at, running back or receiver. But for me, I typically like the 3-6-8-3. I think you have the best chance to advance. I think you can withstand injuries a little bit better. And that's how I like to approach it. For DraftKings with the full point PPR and the bonuses, I'm more open to having the receiver hit the flex. Obviously, there's a lot of good pass catching backs. Guys like Alvin Kamara and guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, even Bijan Robinson. He gets so many targets. So
Henderson in New England this
yeah,
year.
and yeah, like some young guys like TreVeyon Henderson. He's definitely on our radar. Breece Hall is another one. Even if he's in a split backfield, he has more value on a site like this where he could just he's going to have some games where he has like 8 catches, 10 catches. So that really helps his value in this format because he's not probably not going to be a big touchdown guy. Etienne, another one. He did have 12 touchdowns last year, but if he's a guy, his touchdowns could get cut in half, and he could still be a pretty good player on DraftKings because he gets so many targets. So I do like to definitely make sure you know what kind of scoring system you're using. Ideally, I'm going to have a fourth receiver hit the flex. I prioritize receiver a little bit more in DraftKings. But really, it just depends draft to draft how it's starting to shape up.
Yeah, generally first 10 picks, I like to go 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and a tight end. But that varies. There
Exactly.
might be some drafts where running backs better. Some drafts where maybe quarterbacks better. Some drafts maybe wide receivers better.
Mm-hmm. No, I tend to agree. And like I said, I think it really depends on how your first couple rounds go. And then, yeah, ideally in the first 10 rounds, I'm probably in a similar build. Sometimes, I push tight end. If I'm not getting one of the elites, I'm not going to reach for one. Um, Now, if it's a guy who's stacking with my quarterback, then that could add in, or a guy I want to backstack, like take a tight end who I know I can get the quarterback later. Um, Particularly now, like for instance, a guy like Tyler Warren. Now we know who the Colts starting quarterback is, so I can target Daniel Jones as my third quarterback. So maybe I'll give him a little edge there if my other stacks just aren't shaping up.
Yeah, I just completed it. Yeah, and it varies from draft to draft. Like I just completed a draft where I got the 111, got Amon-Ra and Puka. And so
Hmm.
guess who two of my quarterbacks are? Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Because
Yeah.
guess what? I wanted to, and I got Goff with Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta and Stafford with Puka and Devontae.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then one guy I've not been drafting much at all until the last couple of days is Darnell Mooney. Because generally, if we build, trust me, if you get the 111, and I've gotten like the 111 about 111 times,
Hmm.
I'm not saying you would do this, but how many Puka Drake London starts have you seen?
Oh, plenty, plenty. Yeah.
But, I feel like Darnell Mooney is highly underrated, and maybe it's a product of, week 17. We all try and get the dome games. So everybody's thinking
Hmm.
Puka and London, but why not Puka and Mooney?
Yeah, and Mooney in pre-draft, the contest before the NFL draft, and then right after the draft when these big contests came out, I was taking him a lot because I thought he was good value. He was going, 90-ish to 80 to 90. And last year he had almost 1,000 yards. I can't remember his touchdown, 7 touchdowns, something like that. Really good year, despite missing a game. And it's likely to be better this year. Kirk Cousins' quarterback play fell off, and then they had to bring in a rookie. Well, Penix now has a whole year to be better. So, but then about a month ago, when Mooney got hurt, like the second day of training camp, I backed off because it was very cryptic, like how late this could go. And now it sounds like if he's not ready week one, he's probably ready week two. So I've started drafting him again. One, we've now got a dip. He's going 110-ish, somewhere in that range, 115 sometimes. I think I got him in a draft earlier, 120. I think that was yesterday. So you're getting a fall on him. So even if he misses a week or 2 weeks, it's probably getting paid off in that ADP fall. But no, the upside's there. He's also very much a spike week guy. Like he's not going to necessarily rack up the catches, so he's not fully the perfect like PPR guy, but he's going to get some 100-yard bonuses because he'll catch 6 for 115 and a touchdown, and that's a lot of points.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, Atlanta's playoff schedule, they've got Tampa, Arizona, and Los Angeles. I mean,
Hmm.
Tampa's practically a dome, and then the last two games, all dome games. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't know how crazy you are, but why? But you know, who's your who are your favorite guys who you love getting in drafts?
Um, I would say, and this is overall because I've changed slightly just with some injury news or camp news, but my top quarterbacks are I do like getting elites when I can, but Drake May is probably my top quarterback overall.
You're
I'm
not the only one who loves Drake May.
Yeah. I'm pretty bullish on Justin Herbert as well. I think the Keenan Allen signing is really big for him. He's now got two really good weapons, two guys he probably really trusts. There's some young guys there to help out as well. They did, lose a key offensive lineman, but I think Herbert could be very good. I like Brock Purdy. I think we are used to the 49ers being with below average quarterback play, all those years of Jimmy Garoppolo and then some of the injury years where other guys had to fill in. Brock Purdy is good. He showed it last year. He's a top 12 quarterback. And that was in a year where, Ayuk missed most of the year. Debo was missed some time and was also dealing with like an illness. So he was not 100%. Of course, CMC was out almost all the season. And their first round rookie, Ricky Pearsall, missed the first 7 weeks because of being shot, and then it just took them a while to get back into shape. So they're starting the year kind of banged up as well. But I think the 49ers are going to have to throw the ball more. So I like Ricky. I like the Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall stacks, and especially if you can get Kittle as well. That feels really good.
I don't get McCaffrey until the 107, if that, but I don't think anytime I can get Kittle, I feel just fine getting Kittle.
Yeah.
Kittle in one of my teams, although I love when they Pierce. I feel like Pearsall's ADP is almost going a little too high. I mean, there's some ADPs, Mecca Buka's ADP is going faster than.
Yeah, no, I agree about Mbuka because, I know we've gotten mixed reports on when exactly Godwin will be back, but Godwin is coming back, whether it's week 3, week 6, whatever it is. He's coming back, and he was wide receiver 2 in the league when he went out. I don't know if he'll be wide receiver 2 at any time going forward, but he's clearly a value for whenever you get him. And I just worry that Mbuka could be really strong early in the year because obviously Millen's hurt, even Kate Otton's hurt. And so it's probably going to be the Evans and Mbuka show to start the year. But by the end of the season, Baker has 2 years with Chris Godwin and has done quite well with Chris Godwin. So I just think, and they gave Godwin a good chunk of money. So I don't think Godwin's going away. So I worry that Mbuka could be a really strong play early in the season, and that could help you advance, but he might not be the guy you want in the playoff formats.
I feel like if you're gonna draft Godwin, if you're gonna draft Mbuka, maybe the strategy is draft Godwin because then you have the replacement for just in case Godwin sort of replaces Mbuka.
Yeah, no, drafting both together I think is a strong play, and now that their ADPs are fairly separate, because before like the Godwin news got kind of down, he was going like 65 to 75 and Mbuka was going like 85 to 90. And so you'd have to take them in within like 2 rounds of each other. Now, sure, Mbuka's moved up and he's, top 60 pick a lot of the times, but Godwin's going like 110, 115, somewhere around there. Again, depends on the draft. Sometimes he slides a little bit more. So if you're getting that big of a gap and you're not necessarily counting on both of them, it's a good target. I mean, the Bucs passing attack was one of the best in the league last year. Probably should be one of the top 10 teams again. So,
all right, Steve. As I do with most of my guests, I will give a countdown, and when we hit go, we're gonna enter the Millie Make at the same time. Get it?
All right. Let me get. Give me 1 second. It's not loading for me real quick.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sometimes always tech issues, right? Come on, DraftKings, what is going on?
Yeah, are you in or out on Saquon this year?
I'm very much in. I think the way I look at it, and 1 second, let me just see if it's working on my phone. For me, Saquon is, yes, he's coming off a major workload, but it's still a top-tier offense. The offensive line is still elite. There is a coordinator change, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't just do exactly what they've been doing before.
And maybe this year Jalen Hurts' butt doesn't score the touchdown. Maybe Saquon scores the touchdown. He might not.
Yeah, because he got stopped like what 11 times, 11, 12 times inside the 1-2 yard line. Just 3 of those go in, even if he loses 200 yards of rushing, 300 yards of rushing. If he gets 3 or 4 more touchdowns, that could balance it out. And yeah, maybe he's not the clear RB1 by a mile, but he's still going to be very good. All right, so give me 1 second, and all right, I'm ready.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm all in
All
the
right.
same room. Thank goodness. Is there a favorite spot you like drafting this year?
That's a good question. I I generally actually like being on one of the turns, either 1-2 or 11-12, just because yes, sometimes when you're in the middle, you can get falling values. But for me personally, I'd rather be more in control of my own destiny. So, like, knowing, like, okay, these next 2 picks, I'm going to take this for running back first because there's 3 receivers and I'll get them back, like you said, when you had the 11th pick. Um, and I know you wanted the Puka London combo because of the week 17, but I'm sure you also felt like A, you had a good chance of that, but B, um, excuse me, that you felt very confident in what you were going to get back. So I
Yeah.
generally like that. Let's see, where did
You got 10.
I
I
got
got
10?
3.
So yeah, but I'm fine either way. At like the 1-2 or 11-12, those are probably my favorite. I mean, I will say for the first round, I do think the first like 6 picks are I like those. I don't really pull anyone up to the first 6 picks. Doesn't so much matter the order. I mean, I think Chase is the clear 101, but beyond that, you know, Bijan, Barkley, Gibbs, Lamb, and Jefferson, I think you could just any of them. I'm happy with.
I'll tell you I'll tell you what though. Between Dallas and Cincinnati's defense, I mean those games look like it could be 51-48 shootouts every week.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's going to be something for sure. And
And
um, we
and
saw 2 years
yeah.
ago with Dak healthy, like how good Lamb was.
Oh man, nothing was better than CeeDee Lamb on my Raw 112-2-1 in
Yeah,
2023.
100%.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I did a couple I hopped in a couple drafts with Tyler and Spread and getting CeeDee Lamb and then Terry in the fourth round, nothing better.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure.
Jamal Chase goes off the board. That's a shocker.
Yeah, I
So
really haven't changed up off that.
I mean, who do you think? Either CD, Saquon, or Gibbs?
I honestly think they're very even. So it kind of depends on what you feel. Like you said, if you want that Lamb, um,
Yeah,
you know,
I do. I would have taken Bijan if he fell, but um, I don't. I, hmm, hmm. I don't know anybody else in this room.
I don't believe I do either. But yeah, not sure.
Boy, that's
So
early for CMC in front of Gibbs.
yeah, and Jefferson.
It's like nobody wants Jefferson. Like I get him 106, 107. I'm like,
Yeah, I do think of the top receivers, Jefferson's the guy who he probably will have the least number of targets. He has the most. He definitely has the most. Like obviously, CD and his Higgins, but there's just a lot of competition for Jefferson. Addison when he comes back now, Thielen, a really strong running game, plus Hawkinson. So just he's going to be great. But whether he's wide receiver 1 or he could be wide receiver 8, I think there's more of a range for him where CD, if he's healthy and Dak's healthy, not only can CD be wide receiver one, but I don't see him really falling out of top five.
So you're thinking here.
I'm going to pull up. No, I will go Monra here. And I'll see what comes back to me in a couple of spots.
Yeah, Detroit, Minnesota. Never a bad Week 17 stack this year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely one of my favorites.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I like Derrick Henry. Henry's second round value, not necessarily first.
Yeah,
First,
it's odd he goes higher on this site than like half point PPR underdog, where he's arguably a much better pick. So I probably don't have as much Henry on this site just for that reason alone. I mean, I think he's defensible because obviously he could be RB1, he could be RB2, even in full point PPR. He just has so much touchdown upside that it can make up for his lack of targets and catches, but it's just a harder path for me.
and plus Lamar might steal all those touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't worry about it with Lamar as much because they don't do the tush push with Lamar. So he'll get his share of rushing touchdowns, but they're more like Lamar gets rushing touchdowns from like the 10, the 15, the 20. He doesn't get them inside the 5-yard line.
Plus Henry's not a PPR receiver.
Yeah, that's the biggest knock on him. That's why I don't have him as much on DK.
Little early for JT. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna just go BTJ here.
let me guess, Steve. I'm sure you have the same problem I do when we draft 5 Week 8 wide receivers.
Yeah, and that is sometimes you need to be a little cognizant of, and I generally prefer not to start my top 2 wide receivers with the same buy, but here, London was obviously on the table, but it's fine, and I'm gonna probably have 8 wide receivers, so in that case, I like having no more than 3 of the same buy. So does that mean I'm probably not looking to double stack these guys? Probably. I'm probably not, because I do think you run the risk of just losing too many points in that given week.
Also might end up with too much of a good thing, and that being, you end up with. I did a draft early in the summer, and this was before we knew the buys and anything, but I ended up drafting Kyler, Trevor, and Matt Stafford, and they all have Week 8 buys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, crap.
Yeah, no, before the schedule comes out, and that's why I really don't like to double stack before the schedule comes out for that reason exactly. I also ensure that I'm getting 8 receivers and 6 running backs for that reason exactly. Like I don't like trying to go hyper fragile or anything like that.
Well, that makes it easy for me. I'll take AJ.
Never a wrong click.
I don't know. Like, would you have taken AJ in that spot, or would you have gone somewhere else?
I mean, I think AJ Brown makes the most sense. I actually would probably take T Higgins above AJ Brown.
Yeah.
T Higgins last year had, if you extrapolate his targets per game, he would have had the same number of targets as Justin Jefferson. So there's a reason why T Higgins, in terms of points per game, was second or third depending on your scoring system.
I'm sure the guy at 101 is hoping for a miracle.
Yeah.
Now, this is the fun one here. Do I take a running back, a quarterback, or do I go another wide receiver? I mean, what do you think here?
I mean, I like the elites. We've talked about it, but I also don't mind pushing it, especially when you have CD. You know, Dak is a later option for you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna push in and take Kyron.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, he's not really a PPR back, and yes, Blake Coleman may be eating some of his work, but we know Sean McVay is a better liar than Phil Ivey at the poker table.
yeah, yeah. I no, I could easily see Kyron still having a massive workload for the reason you just said. Like, it's just also I think Sean McVay just trusts him, and that's what it boils down to. Um, if you have the coach's trust and I think the quarterback's trust in Matt Stafford, that's going to get you on the field.
Oh my goodness, Travian Henderson is 30.
Yeah, that's a price I'm not really willing to take.
Yeah, I'm done with Henderson if he's going that high.
So we'll see what gets back to me.
Yeah, you're on the clock in a couple.
Yeah, yeah. So
I've
I
got a
would have
feel-
I would have loved Mike Evans, but obviously he just went.
I've got a funny feeling of who you're going to take here.
Um,
Yep, and I'm
yeah,
sure I know who your next pick's going to be if he comes back.
potentially. I will say I'm not as locked into that stack as most,
Everyone.
just because I actually think Jaden is one of the quarterbacks you can backstack. I think Debo, Ertz, Eckler are all very good options with him. He also doesn't need to be stacked. He had 800 rushing yards and what eight touchdowns last year on the ground. So
Yeah,
his
I think.
percentage of points coming through the air are more limited. And I didn't even get the option because Terry was taken. But
Yeah, and
um,
also, I think there are 2, 3 guys you could just leave naked. I think Justin Fields is one.
oh, for sure, yeah, agreed.
Hmm. There goes Cheetah. Are you in or out? Are you in or out on Cheetah?
I'm kind of out, just he's been banged up in camp, the wrist and all that. It's one of those things you worry about him, you worry about the Dolphins as a whole, you worry about Tua's health, because all those things would just totally nuke any value you're getting taking him here in the third round. Are there outcomes where he's still a top 5 receiver? Sure. But I think they're very small. And I think there's other receivers in this range who had those same outcomes.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go with one that I actually think could be, and that's Xavier Worthy.
Yep. Yeah.
Not just because of the Rashid Rice injury, but I think Worthy's going to have a potential monster role in this offense, and with the Rashid Rice suspension, I should say. I think, by the time he gets back, Worthy might just be Patrick Mahomes' guy.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy if Rasheed Rice becomes the lead wide receiver. I don't know I don't know. I'm not really much of a Kelsey fan this year, but I could see a situation where, you know, maybe the Chiefs use Travis Kelsey early and Worthy early. I do think Pacheco coming back helps.
Oh, for sure. No, I think it adds balance to the team.
Oof, I got 2 guys in mind for my picks here.
Who are you going to go with?
That was option A. That was excuse me, option B. I'll take option A.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And since Pickens is off the board, you could probably guess who my next pick is going to be. think the draft that I did was spread. I ended up getting an Eagle stack, so
Hmm.
I will do another one. Yeah. Hey, he got a Burrow stack. That's a miracle. That never happens when I go 101.
Yeah, it's much more rare on DraftKings.
Yeah. Hmm. Calvin Ridley. I think I'm gonna take Devontae.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't always get it, but that's a nice way to stack up the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles have Vegas, Washington, and Buffalo. I know all cold weather games, but you know what? Not sure it necessarily matters, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Scott
and
Brown could play in a freaking hurricane.
yeah, well, and the other thing with it is like, yes, I mean, maybe Buffalo's defense is good, but I think Washington's defense could still be susceptible. Vegas's defense is probably very susceptible. And honestly, the Washington Buffalo games could just turn into shootouts. So that could just have just so many points. I mean, you look at the Bengals Broncos last year. Broncos had one of the best defenses in the league. Bengals just absolutely shredded them. Um, and the shootout element of that is what you wanted. Same honestly with the 49ers Lions. It became early, for the first three quarters, it was very much a back and forth type game, led to a lot of fantasy points. And that it was key to to a lot of winning lineups.
Hmm.
Oh boy, I'm deciding between a couple guys. I'm gonna go with RJ Harvey.
Oh, yeah, I see. So you don't believe the news that OJ Harvey's not going to start early.
I mean, you know, starting is such a relative term in terms of like what stats count. It's whoever the first back is out there. So, do I think there's on most games J.K. Dobbins is the first back in the game? Sure, but I think Harvey is. We saw Javonte Williams. He was like third or fourth in running back targets last year, and he was terrible. So Harvey has the skill set that fits that extremely well.
And and maybe Harvey's not a guy Sean Payton wants in between the tackles, but you see Alvin Kamara, Darren Sproles, scat back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I'm playing it. And Connor is a safer back option, but Harvey, and there's the correlation with Worthy week 17, but that wasn't the primary reason by any stretch. It was mainly I just believe. Fortunately, Debo went. I was hoping for Debo there.
Yeah,
I'll just take another back.
yeah, I'm on the Tony Pollard train. I think I remember getting Pollard in that same draft. I went Lamb, McLaurin, Pickens, and then got Pacheco and Pollard in the 6th, 7th round. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe I got all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Pollard, his ADP's moved up, but I think for good reason. Obviously, Spears is banged up on going to miss the first at least 4 games, probably more. Yeah, I think the offensive line is going to be great. The offense should just be way more efficient this year. So I'm a big believer in Pollard and the Titans being at least a league average offense.
I
He was
think
a
that,
very good back last year in a terrible offense.
yeah. Oh, I love when there's an auto drafter. It really annoys me.
Eh,
Obviously, you're hoping Mahomes, and that, yeah, you're not worried about quarterback because you already got one. But
I mean, there are some times where we'll take a second quarterback earlier if it fits a stack. if I just want to have a more unique combo. Um, so there are times where I will go down that route, but it just kind of depends how I feel. If also particularly if it's like a value. Um,
Or if it goes with your stack, like if you got like I've seen some drafts where somebody takes, boy, Tyler Warren. Everybody loves Warren.
yeah,
Golly. That makes it easy. I'll take Pacheco.
yeah. No, I mean Pacheco was somebody I was considering taking with my pick. Um, so that's good value there.
Yeah. Hmm. I have a feeling of what I'm gonna do. Yeah. What debating between Diggs, Olave, and Myers. I mean, I've taken quite a bit of Diggs when I've tried stacking with Drake May, but that never
Mm.
works. Olave, I love the kid, but the quarterback scares me. And Myers, I don't think for a second Vegas is trading him. That
I
just
kind of agree fully with that assessment. I don't think they're trading him. So I think Myers is fine. I think Olave quarterback play is in question, but he should get a ton of targets. And then Diggs, I'm a big fan of. So
yeah.
um,
And I'm not really looking to get any of these. Uh, yeah. And unlike other teams, I don't have a lot of week 8 wide receivers. So,
yeah, it's not my favorite thing, but we'll figure it out.
and there's also Vegas and Philly playing week 15. So it's not the worst thing. They'll break ties.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Bo Nix. I feel like Bo Nix is underrated.
I agree. The Broncos were 10th in scoring last year. They go out and get multiple weapons. They have young receivers looking to step up more and more. They still have Cortland Sutton. They've one of the better offensive lines in the league. Sean Payton, of course. So yeah, I'm very bullish on Bo Nix.
Though I'm confused with whether they're going to use how they're going to use Evan Ingram this year.
Yeah, I mean my take on it is I think Ingram's going to be he won't be out there for as many snaps as we probably want, but he's going to get so many targets in those snaps that I don't worry too much. Um, boy,
You're going to take Mahomes if he fell?
I was considering it because I don't like much else right now.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to take Cooper Cup. I think Cooper Cup is a guy who, if he stays healthy, which I understand is a big if, and I know it's another week 8 bye, but this will be my last week 8 bye, hopefully. Um, I just didn't like anything else that was there. Um, so I just think he vastly outplays his ADP
You
if he
bet
stays healthy.
you're betting on the player more than anyone else. The only problem is if Cooper Cup is playing outside. That worries me, but I think he'll play in the slot. I think JSN will play outside.
That's how I imagine it as well. Could be wrong, but I think that's probably their best um, way to handle it.
Heckgum you. I was going to take Keon Coleman. I was going to take Keon Coleman next. You took him.
Yeah, like I said, not many guys in that area I really like. I mean, Hawkinson's fine, but with them acquiring Thielen, I actually like him a little less. Um,
Oh,
you know,
Minnesota might have too many mouths to feed.
yeah.
Hmm. Oh, you little rascal.
Mm.
That's who I was going to take next. Okay. Who am I going to steal from somebody. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know why Shakir's ADP is still in the 90s.
I think the fact that he has that Q tag, he might still miss week one, but it looks a lot better. But I think that's done a lot of work to keeping his ADP low.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some truth to that. We see plenty of times guys who are a little banged up who situations end up being worse than is first reported. But I feel pretty good about Shakir.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten Shakir with my Buffalo stacks, and plus that. I mean, I'm more on Team Shakir, but I've tried mixing in Keon Coleman. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really touching Juwan Jennings. No way I'm touching Juwan Jennings right now.
Yeah, no, I've been kind of out on Jennings, and yeah, it doesn't sound like a great situation. It's probably going to miss some time. Who knows how long? And then and I think it will be later in the year, but when Ayuk does come back, I don't think he eats into Ricky's work so much. I think he eats into Juwan Jennings.
And Kittle is just being Kittle.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, hmm. Well, that makes this next pick easy. I'm gonna take Mark Andrews, the Ageless Wonder.
No, I think he's a really good pick this year. Likely he's going to miss some time early. Mark Andrews has been last year was his since 2019, since Lamar became a starter. Last year he finished as tight end 7, I believe, and that was his lowest rating. So it feels pretty good.
I mean, some of these builds of, I don't know, some of these builds, like, I don't like, you know, Baker and Kyler. I mean, he took Marvin and Evans, so I get it. I mean, I don't hate that. You know what really annoys you when like somebody takes 3 or 4 quarterbacks by like round 10. Like my rule, I don't take 3 quarterbacks by until round 13.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to figure out what I'm doing with this next pick. Go.
Oh.
Going with Tucker Kraft. Want to get a good tight end, and also opens up another stack option.
AKA Jordan Love.
Yep. So we'll see. I mean, I obviously have a few different options for backstacking. Getting my second and third quarterback. But
If you go, let's just say Josh Allen, would you be okay having 2 quarterbacks, or would you still try and get a third?
it depends on who my second is. Like if I'm taking, let's just say Josh Allen, and Drake May, I'm fine with that. If I'm taking Josh Allen and Geno Smith, I'm not as fine with that. I think having like Josh Allen, Geno Smith, and Daniel Jones is far better than it's worth having that third quarterback.
If I'm a betting man right now, that's later than I would think for Purdy. But he doesn't. Yeah, that guy doesn't have enough wide receivers at 112.
Yeah, I don't love this new price on him, but I'm a big fan of Austin Eckler, and it's a stack, so I'm going to pull him up because I don't think he's coming back to me.
I was going to take him next. Yeah, I've got a funny. I've got one of 2 guys in mind, and Yeah. I don't know, like JC, like Crosby Merritt's ADP is going faster than
Yeah,
I cannot take JCM in the 70s.
no, it's gotten too rich. I would much rather be taking Eckler, but I just think Eckler probably is the biggest beneficiary. I wouldn't be surprised if JCM and Chris Rodriguez just kind of split the early down work, and in which case, JCM will have some good weeks, but he's probably not going to pay off his current ADP.
Yeah, I feel like Ollie Gordon's almost going too high now. Like 116, no way.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more defensible because it probably is just those two backs. Um, and we saw, you know, Achan is limited in what he can do. And we saw 2 years ago what, Mostert had the extreme upside version of that. I don't think Gordon's going to do anything near what Mostert did, but it could be, 70% of that role.
You know what?
Um,
You know what? It's a Fanspeak show. If it's a Fanspeak show, one of us has got to take Cam Scatterball. Otherwise, your sister be mad at us.
yeah, yep.
And I mean, I'm happy he's back from the injury. So uh,
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
yeah, I have a feeling. Yeah, I know what I want next. Do I take her? Yeah. I mean, who do you like this year more between Herbert and Stroud? I know you like Herbert more.
Yeah, I like Herbert more.
Yeah. Although I love CJ Stroud this year too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stroud's fine, and obviously, if you have Nico, great pick. If you want to, stack him with guys like Kirk or Higgins, I think that's perfectly good as well.
I was thinking of going Kirk and Stroud, but I'm like, but the Cam Scatterboard just looked too tempting. Hmm.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And I mean, there are a couple late Georgia tight ends. Who's the rookie? I can't think of his name. Not Trey Harris, but the tight
Aronde
end.
Aronde Gadsden.
Yeah, that's like a 20th round flyer.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not something I did once or twice early, but it sounds like Conklin
Yeah.
has really established himself as the starter. And Disley is going to be the blocking tight end and out there in two tight end sets. So I just think this year is probably just a developmental year for Gadsden would be my guess. So I
Yeah.
haven't really targeted him.
Oh crap! Keenan Allen's in the top 100 now. Fudge.
Yeah, no, price has gone up, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're one pick away from getting your quarterback, and I'm not gonna spill the beans.
Well, I have a couple options here. I have Lawrence, I've Love.
Well,
You know,
yeah. You don't have to pick,
yeah.
which means
So
you're not gonna pick.
well, I also worry about there's an auto drafter in between. So
Well, he's
but I'm
on.
gonna take Braylon Allen here. So
Uh,
I'm hoping I get one of those two quarterbacks back, but if not, we'll make do.
yeah. You're not the only one who loves Brian Allen this year. I mean, I think his ADP is still too low. I mean, I loved him when he was in the 170s.
Yeah.
It was Ferguson. Hmm. Now I'm wondering if I should have taken. Now I'm wondering if I should have taken O'Marion Hampton instead of Kyron. But
Yeah. I mean, probably on DraftKings, I'm a little bit more on Hampton just because I think Hampton will probably catch more passes. Um, but, I mean, it's one of those things like, especially in the playoff format where,
yeah,
maybe Kyron's just the guy you need. And maybe not even week 17, but maybe it's like week 15. He just has this monster game and advances you. Like
Yeah.
even if Hampton's the better back through the course of the season, maybe Kyron's just the guy you need in the playoffs.
Boy, I'll tell you what, the guy at 112 is not going to win. He doesn't have enough wide receivers.
I haven't looked specifically at his team. What's his build at right now?
2-6-3-1.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Lawrence over Love. I actually think Lawrence is higher upside. But I would have been happy with either one. So
You're not the only one. With BT, I try and mix in Lawrence with BT, with Hunter, with both of them. Sometimes I backstack if I know somebody's got him because I could get Strange and Dommy Brown. I think Tim Patrick is more just an insurance piece.
yeah, probably.
Hmm. Yeah. I may just. I have a couple guys in mind. 8, 10. This might, you know what? This might be more of an upside pick, but I think Jane Blue will be the PPR back in Dallas.
He could be. He could be. It sounds like he's not going to miss significant time, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's out week 1 with that low ankle sprain. The Dallas is wide open. I mean, it's Javonte and Miles Sanders right now. Neither one instills a lot of confidence. So,
I don't,
yeah.
I don't know about you. That might be the worst backfield in the league.
I mean, I think it's got to be up there, right? Like, at least in Washington, sure they're relying on Chris Rodriguez and JCM, a lot of unknowns there, but at least they have Eckler. Chicago, Roshan and Monangai are both kind of injured and unknown, but at least they have Swift. Cowboys, I think most people would say Javonte just has never bounced back from that injury, and Miles Sanders' best days are behind him. And then Blue is a complete unknown because while he was a 5th-round pick, most people projected him more of 7th-rounder undrafted.
Yeah,
So, maybe the Cowboys got their guy, but it just doesn't feel near as safe as any other room.
I don't know if it's too early, but I feel like in a way Dallas Goedert almost gets underappreciated from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, Goddard in terms of like points per game, each of the last 3 years, I believe he would have finished in the top 12 in points per game. Maybe last year just outside of it. His biggest thing is staying healthy. He just hasn't stayed healthy. He's missed at least I think 4 weeks each of the last 3 or 4 years. But when he's out there, he's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've gone 2-4-5-2. You have gone 2-4-5-1. So I'm sure you're thinking the third quarterback somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, probably not here, though it does start to get dicey.
Yeah, are you one who takes Jackson Dart as your third quarterback?
I've done it. It's not something I like to do a lot.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Jackson Dart thinking he'll be the starter late in the year when the big money's on the line.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty fair bet. Don't totally love this range. I'm going to go Cedric Tillman.
Upside?
Yeah, I think he's got some upside. And, I think what I worry about late in the season, if they do go with one of the rookie quarterbacks, I think as long as Joe Flacco's in there, he could be pretty productive and outplay his ADP.
It's funny. I don't know if you would agree with me. I almost want to see Jameis play this year because I think Malik Neighbors would lead the league in targets. Now, half of those would go to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the obviously Winston's on the Giants, and I think Flacco is better for the Browns. We saw what he did 2 years ago with them in this system. Amari Cooper had such a great run at the end of the year, and Joe Good a good run.
Yeah, Amari Cooper's got like 8 million yards in that one game against the Texans, and now he's with the Raiders. So Lord knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I don't know what to make about the Raiders situation right now, to be honest.
Probably best fourth place team in the league this year.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I mean, I mean, I'm glad I don't have a fan in the AFC West because might have the toughest coaching division in the NFL maybe
Oh, I think
since
that's
since the 90s with Paul Sells, Jimmy Johnson, Joe Gibbs, and Buddy Ryan. I don't know, but yeah, Buddy Ryan, the NFC East.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. Every coach is amazing. Every, it's tough because the Raiders go out and they get a clear, massive upgrade at quarterback with Geno Smith, and he is still by a mile the worst quarterback in the division.
It's not anything that he's done wrong.
No. I mean, he's a top 20 quarterback, I'd say, in the NFL. But you've Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Bo Nix, who had a very good year as a rookie, and I think is just ascending. So, yeah, it's tough sledding.
This might be more upside here, but I think we should toot up a storm here for Mr. Tootin.
Yeah, I'm a little more out on Tootin. I worry that he's the third back on this offense that probably only supports two. I know people hint at a trade of likely ETN, and maybe that happens. I just, it now, if you're drafting, which I know you are at volume, like I don't think there's anything wrong with mixing them in some. But yeah, I just have a tough time seeing his path forward unless a trade happens.
I don't know if this guy sees the field this year, but maybe I'm just going upside with Trey Harris.
Yeah, I mean, I took a ton of Trey Harris early.
I did too.
Yeah. Obviously, he's falling now quite a bit. I haven't really taken him much anymore just because I have so much already. But now is the time to buy because the value is the highest. So I don't hate it. I think, and QJ's already banged up. And
shocker, that's the most shocking thing to happen in camp. Quentin Johnson's hurt again.
So no, I think taking a few shots at Harris at this range is fine because really he just needs to beat out QJ's just so inconsistent, and then also KLS, Kendra Lambert Smith. He's an interesting prospect, but I still think Harris has higher upside.
Yeah, I mean Trey Harris, what a second round pick from Ole Miss. Second round pick from Ole Miss.
Yep. So no, I agree.
Yeah, trust me. In the draft I did with Felix Castor, I think I got Harris in the 10th round, and now I regret it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look as well now, but there's still paths where it can pay off.
Oh, I see. You took Rashad White. Now, I took a lot of Rashad White early. Haven't taken a lot lately. You've been he was the PPO back in Tampa.
I do, and he's fallen some, with the injury, but it doesn't sound serious. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
Here, let's see. I decided to go Jalen Coker. I was wondering how late I could push him.
You were going to get him. You were going to get him come hell or high water before anybody else would.
Yeah, I just want more of them. And I think, hearing that he's going to get the slot work in Carolina, I think is very bullish for his upside.
Tell you what, I like Carolina's stacks this year and Carolina's playoff schedule. Yeah, I like it. Dome game, Falcons and Seahawks in Charlotte.
Yeah. No, I mean, hard to dislike that.
In fact, in a slow draft in the slow draft a couple of days ago, 19th round, I clicked Coker fast. I clicked Coker faster than Micah Parsons signed his deal with with the Packers. Excuse me.
Yeah.
By the way, how will Micah Parsons change the NFC North? Because Green Bay's got to be a favorite in that division, right?
Probably. I mean, it's obviously a very competitive division. I think the Lions do take a little bit of a step back, but the Vikings actually may take a step up. And this is not to say that I think Sam Darnold's bad. I'm actually a believer in Sam Darnold, the resurgence we saw under Kevin O'Connell. But if J.J. McCarthy is anything like they hope he is, if he's ready, their weapons are elite. Their three receivers are extremely good, plus Hawkinson. Their two running backs, I think, are very good. They vastly upgraded the offensive line. Their defense is very strong itself.
I'll tell you what, I think outside maybe Cincinnati and Philadelphia, the Vikings might have the best offensive personnel in the league.
No, I mean, I think you can make a very strong case for that.
Yeah, I've got a couple guys in mind here. I mean, do you think I need a third quarterback? Or is it just? I mean, I've got Hurts and.
Yeah, I mean, I generally like having a third quarterback, but do I always when I have an elite? No. So, to me, it just depends on how you feel about it.
Yeah. I've got a couple guys in mind for my next pick. Probably going to get one more running back, maybe two. Not really want a Darren Waller, so you can have him. Goodbye. I don't even want to see him.
I'm taking a 0 Darren Waller.
I'm maybe on his significant other, but that's a story for another day. I'm gonna take Rico Dabo.
Yeah, a good pick.
I'm more Team Rico than Team Chuba.
I think Chuba's fine, but I think Rico's going to have a pretty decent role. And especially on a PPR site, it sounds like Rico's going to be the third down back, passing back. So, he could just end up with like 50 catches.
Yeah. I've gotten a lot of Rico this year. Shoot. That's who I was going to take next. I'm going to take Mr. Franklin.
Yeah, another fun young guy.
Yeah. I was surprised the Broncos traded Vale, but I love it for Brian and Franklin.
No, it absolutely helps all their young receivers, even Mims as well.
Yeah. Oh, you. I'm not the only one who likes Mason Taylor. Apparently, everybody in the Fanspeak community does.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just in terms of like what kind of uh, guys were left at the tight end, it had gotten picked over, and some of the guys that I did like or Johnny was there, and he's the same by his craft. I still
Yeah,
might tack on a third tight end, but now I have the option.
that's why I'm happy I got Godwin when I did, because then I didn't have to play tight end roulette with all the fun ones.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Let's see what comes back to me.
Daniel Jones, Justice Hill. Yeah, I'm one. I don't know what it is, but I like taking Justice Hill as like my last running back. Just hope he gets 4 or 5 catches a couple times a game out of the year. Might make your line up once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, last year, and this is half point scoring, but he had 4 weeks of 10 or more points. So even more points because a lot of that was PPR, catching the ball. And 2 of those weeks were like 17 and 19 points. So I'd imagine over 20 on in DK. I mean, he's never going to get like the bonus or anything like that, but
Oh,
and that was in 15 games. Remember, he missed a couple games. So even with Henry having the year that he had and Lamar having the year that he had, Justice Hill was a very fine late round running back.
yeah. Obviously, you're not thinking, Flacco. Maybe I need to incorporate Flacco more. And maybe early. I mean, I've gotten some Shador, and now I'm thinking, oh gosh, I feel like a donkey now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Flacco, one, I think he probably at least covers Lawrence's bye. He might not still be starting during Jaden's bye, but I think he just gives me another option early in the season. And last year in 6 starts, he had one game over 20 points. The year before in 7 starts, I think he had 4 20-point games. So, there's a chance between Jaden and Lawrence that I'd never need him, but to me, it's worth the insurance. That's the way I look at it. Even with an elite quarterback, you're just taking an insurance policy.
And Flacco's got zero rushing upside. You know that.
Absolutely.
I know that.
But I do also think they're going to have to throw a lot. I don't think their defense is as strong as it was. And honestly, 2 years ago when Flacco was with them, they had a very strong defense, and he still had to throw the ball a ton. So I just don't worry too much about it. And yeah, I look at it also. The outcomes, I mean, one, Lawrence has missed time every year, but we also look at Jaden last year. He had that rib injury against Carolina, left that game early. So he would have
And
not scored for you that game. But that's the type of injury for a lot of quarterbacks, or if it was just slightly worse, where he would have needed to miss the next 3 games.
and a concussion. Didn't he have a concussion?
He was evaluated for a concussion. It turned out it wasn't a concussion. I think that was in the Giants game. I can't remember which game, but he luckily did not have a concussion, so he was able to come back. But no, it's just one of those things where if he had missed 3 games last year, your chance of advancing would have taken a massive hit. And yet he was one of the best playoff quarterbacks last year. So I just don't want to ruin that. When I say insurance policy, that's what I mean. Like, if I never need him, then that means Jaden and Lawrence have just balled out. So I'm probably really good. And if I do need him, then it still could keep a Jaden team alive for the playoffs. If, like, say Jaden comes back, And we see this with quarterbacks all the time where, yes, the season ending ones when, Cousins tears his Achilles or something like that. Yeah, you're hurting at that point. But the guys who miss, 2, 3 weeks, I mean, Purdy missed a game last year. Plenty of guys miss a couple games. So yeah, having that insurance policy can be worth it.
Well, yeah, and I took Jackson Dart and Dio Johnson quietly. I mean, I think Dio Johnson, I don't mind Dio Johnson as the third tight end. I think New York's going to throw this year. I mean, I think Terrell Tracy will be more of a PPR back. I think Cam will be more of the goal line back. I mean, yeah, we both like Cam, but it may take a while for Cam to get the walk there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll take too long, but I do agree. I think it'll be kind of a split backfield, but I think Scatterboo gets more touchdowns, and he's a good receiver in his own right. In fact, he's probably a better receiving back than Tracy. So
And watching Cam at Arizona State never fumbled the football. Terrell
mhm.
Tracy fumbles his ice cream cone.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a big factor.
Juwan Johnson, I don't know what it is. Nobody loves him. Nobody. Am I the only one who loves Juwan Johnson as a third tight end?
No, I think he's extremely defensible as a third tight end.
I don't think Taysom Hill's starting the year.
No, both Hill and Moreau are on the pup. Moreau might come back sooner, but I think I think he's still going to miss significant time. And then Taysom Hill, I mean, he could miss all season. Like,
Yeah, Taysom's coming back from a torn ACL, and plus the
yeah,
Saints might be the worst team in the league this year. They're just going to throw.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
no, I think it's Juwan Johnson is a very solid option, and the fact in a 20-round format you can still get him, around 19 or 20, I think is very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if I'm building, a Ram stack, I get Tyler Higbee or I get Theo Johnson. I mean, I don't hate going super late tight end.
Hmm.
Look at here. I went Theo Johnson. I mean, I'm not sure what you would have done, but
No, I think there's a lot of value with these late round tight ends because, like, look, I just took Roman Wilson with the 20th round pick. And, I like Justice Hill and I like Roman Wilson, but those guys aren't like full
uh,
time players.
uh, Steve, Steve. Who's going to be the late round Washington receiver this year? Is it going to be McCaffrey? Or is it going to be Jane Lane?
Who I honestly doubt either one. I think Noah Brown's going to be the number 3 on the team.
Okay. Uh, yeah. And he caught a Hail Mary too last year.
Yeah. Yep. So,
And broke bare hearts.
I think both Lane and McCaffrey will get a little bit of looks, but, and McCaffrey's more position versatile right now. It seems like they've worked him in more positions. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I've gotten some of each. I don't think I've gotten any Noah Brown. So, I mean, 20th round. If it doesn't work out, so what?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I like about taking tight ends late is because they are going to work out. I mean, maybe they're not going to be super smashes, but they're going to be out there starting.
Okay, so let's see. Your team is Amon Ra, Brian Thomas Jr., Jane Daniels, Xavier Worthy, RJ Harvey, Tony Pollard, Cooper Cup, Keenan Coleman, Tucker Craft, Eckler, Braylon Allen, Trevor, Cedric Tillman, Rashad White, Jalen Coker, Mason Taylor, Justice Hill, Flacco, Juwan Johnson, Roman Wilson, and then my team is CD, AJ, Kyron, Jalen Hurts, Devontae, Isaiah Pacheco, Jacoby Myers, Khalil Shakir, Mark Andrews, Cam, Scatterbo, Herbert, Jane Blue, Dallas Goddard, Tuden, Trey Harris, Rico Dowdle, Troy Franklin, Jackson Dart, Theo Johnson, and Noah Brown. So we both went 3-6-8-3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so what do you think about my team?
No, I mean, I think obviously that Eagle stack is awesome, and with Lamb, so you have a really strong foundation with top tier offenses. I generally like that, and that's why I like a lot of elite quarterbacks, because they are part of elite offenses. Um, you're just going to get the most points that way. Sure, there's going to be some great fantasy players from mid-tier or weaker offenses, but just the upside generally is better from top-tier offenses. So I think it's a good team. It's well built, well structured, and hopefully the two of us advance out of this pod.
Yeah, looking at these teams, you think there are any teams you're like do not like right now?
Let me take
I
a
don't know.
closer look.
The 112 team feels like he took taken
Yeah,
on too many late round receivers.
yeah, that's probably going to be tough to catch up. I'm trying to look. Nothing else feels too crazy. The team, Asian D21, taking 4 tight ends. I don't know if that generally is a good play.
Giving up too many wide receivers.
Yeah, I just feel he's probably thinner than he likes at other positions. So, I'd worry about that. But yeah, I mean,
He's got Dak. I worry he's got he's got an unstacked Dak, right?
yeah.
And he's
So,
got. I don't hate Don or JJ McCarthy, but I feel like I think at that point, if you're going to take Dak, you would have been better off taking, maybe what he should have done at that point is push tight end back instead of take Loveland at 114. Maybe he takes somebody there and takes Ferguson. Ferguson went on 131, but he could have taken Jane Blue. He could have taken Turpin as a 20th round pick.
yeah. Yeah, no, I would have liked to, with that build, take that a little more in consideration. So, I don't know if it just didn't work out for him, or he kept thinking he was going to get somebody. And then I will say there are times where I end up with unstacked quarterbacks because,
I've done
well,
that in the Cardinal too.
well, I think Turpin's like a very defensible 20th round pick. If if I felt my receivers needed something else for whatever reason, um, you know, I don't believe in reaching for somebody just to reach. Like, let's say you took Jalen Hurts, but you hadn't taken AJ Brown. You're assuming Devonta Smith came back, but then Smith gets sniped, and then you're hoping for Dallas Goedert, and then he gets sniped. Well, are you really going to take Jahan Dotson? Is that really going to make a difference? Probably not.
Probably not.
Now that's a little different because Hurts is a runner, but even somebody, that is more of a throwing quarterback, like, like there are times, and now with the ADPs shifting so much, like taking like a Justin Herbert. Well, if Vlad's gone and you don't get Keenan Allen, how do we feel about Quentin Johnston? Like, is it a situation where, Quentin Johnston, you'd have to take him like either 10 picks ahead of ADP or hope he comes back 10 picks past ADP? Like sometimes that gets into play. Like, I'm not going to reach for stacks. Like, if a stack falls to me, I'll take it, but I'm not going to overly reach for for non like primary stacks. If it's like an early guy, sure.
Yeah,
But
here was the team I did. This was a slow draft I did where I went Nico, Amon-Ra, Devontae, Kittle, Connor, Rome, Shakir, Mason, Purdy, Charbonnet, McCarthy, Rip Tajay Spears. This was before the injury. Pop Douglas, Stafford, Chris Rodriguez, Mason Taylor, Troy Franklin, Dowdle, Jalen Coker, and Tyler Higbee.
yeah, no,
I mean, the most zero RB. It's hard to do zero RB this year, or harder.
yeah. I mean, I think people saw it didn't work so well last year, and honestly, I think it's more like you have to do it the right way, and just for whatever reason, the values aren't aligning properly this year. Um, and some of it we saw like Travion Henderson get really pulled up. Guys like JCM and Eckler have gotten really pulled up. Like it works when you can get guys late. Like honestly, even last year you could get guys late. You could get, Chase Brown kind of late, Bucky late, Shuba late, Dobbins late. So you could get those guys late to like, you start your first running back with like a, I don't know, like a James Conner or somebody like that in the 6th round. And then you just stack up on those guys. Another Rico Dowdle went late. So you could get a lot of late guys who still work. And maybe some of those guys will emerge this season. Almost undoubtedly somebody will emerge. But it's just right now we're not seeing those kind of values emerge, because I think you could identify at least some of those last year, because it was between Rico and Zeke. It was between Chase Brown and Zach Moss. These weren't like very safe options. Like Bucky was the biggest surprise, just because Rashard White felt at least solid, and White still was solid, but Bucky just outplayed him. And like Dobbins was obviously a better pick than like Gus Edwards or Kamani Vidal. People were taking him last year, so there's some of that.
I'm thinking this year, like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet in Seattle. Like, I think there's a chance both guys are effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, some of these will merge, and maybe it is a Jaden Blue like you took, or maybe it is like a, like a Jerome Ford, because the Cleveland situation is a bit of a mess, or Tootin, like you took him as well. Right. So, maybe it's ETN gets traded, or maybe an injury occurs. And sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah, so I mean, all in all, you like my draft philosophy. I tried and stack. I mean, I don't know if I'm just hard on myself with my teams, but I try and make everyone. And you know what? Last year, 2 years ago, I think 40 of my teams advanced, and last year, I think it was like in the 20s. But I remember I drafted so many late teams, and that was a big no-no on my card. I'm like, I'm not going to do that again.
Mm. Now, do you think it's because you're just? Why do you think the late teams didn't help you out?
I don't know. Maybe I took too many stands. Maybe I had too many guys later. Maybe my player takes were not right. Like I didn't take a lot of Saquon or Derrick Henry last year.
Yeah, no, I just know in general, and this is just more in general. I do think drafting late is generally better, because you're not risking any like potential zeros. Like like we know the Rice suspension. We now know about Quinshon Judkins, or at least enough. Like we know the risk involved. We know some guys who went on PUP. Like a Taj Spears, stuff like that. People
We now know Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, which means the Cowboys are going to be throwing.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so though that not having zeros, I think is one of the biggest things. And that's not always the case. I can't remember right now the DraftKings lineup that won last year, but the guy who won the underdog tournament He had like 3 zeros on his team. He had um
Heck, Felix's team in 2021 had like one tight end or one healthy tight end.
yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes you just need a good run out.
And it just happened to be Gronk the week that Antonio Brown stripteased himself at MetLife Stadium, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
And I mean, you imagine, I mean, I don't know if the DK contest, so I think it'll come down right to the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, it might not fully fill. I think it will be very close, though.
Yeah,
I think it'll be better than it was last year.
yeah. I think drafters will have some serious overlay.
Yeah, that looks pretty safe.
I'm thinking about putting a couple teams in that, trying to win.
Yeah, no, that's a fun contest. I do a lot of drafters as well, so
Might be. I mean, that's 20 rounds. I mean, and I think those are season-long formats, right?
yeah. So it's weeks 1 through 17. So like there's no playoffs. So whoever you're in a draft with, you could have, there could be obviously drafts where nobody gets to the money. There could be drafts where 3 or 4 people get to the money. So it depends, but no, I enjoy the format.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it half point or full point?
That's full point PPR, but no bonuses like DraftKings.
Okay, so it's like half and half. So it's like half underdog, but half DK.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing a couple teams now. So thanks for hopping on, Steve. Check him out. Check him and his sister Meg on Fanspeak when the football season starts. Those two are going to be putting out great DFS content, and heck, I think you two are in a draft today, or 5 or 10. I have no idea.
Well, thank you. I appreciate jumping on. This was fun to do a draft, and appreciated talking ball. So I really enjoyed it.